beauties, this is Lena Kepton with Now She Knows. And hypergamy is the way for every woman. Each and every woman. Even if you're a lesbian. Okay, because I even see lesbian relationships where you have one of the partners who takes on the more masculine role and is the sole provider and protector, and one stays home and she's more in her feminine and takes care of the home. So even in that role, I feel that every woman should be hypergamous, and here's why. First reason is, why spend mine when I can spend yours? You know, and that is not to take a jab at men and just make them feel like, oh, I'm just using you. And it's like, no, it's just basically saying, like, why would I do it all by myself? You know, why would I want to, be in a relationship where I don't need that man? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so helpful when you have a man who actually wants to contribute solely financially, and instead of you investing the money into basic things like bills and all that good stuff, you could be reinvesting whatever money that you have or whatever money that he gives to you back into yourself, in which turn making yourself a better person, in which turn making yourself an even better person for the relationship, and then leads to a happy couple, if that makes any sense, if you get what I'm saying. And it's just like, I know that this may be a problem for the independent, strong women who's like, well, I got my own, I don't need his. And it's like, but you always see in those cases of those women who have mental breakdowns, nervous breakdowns, or they start getting physically ill because they're so used to doing it on their own. And it's like, why do it on your own when you can have a man who is physically built to take on that role, and would be men who are out there who are more than happy to take that, who are more than happy to take on that role, because they know that when they're playing their role, that it attracts a woman who is definitely going to play her feminine role. And in the end, it benefits both partners, if that makes sense, okay? The second point is that it's less stress. Like, it's a stress-free situation, okay? Now, I know many may argue that, oh my God, it's so much on the man to be able to provide, and the woman is only going to be the one that's less stressed. And that's not true. That's why it's called being hypergamous. You date up, you marry up. So therefore, the responsibility of providing on that man financially providing is not going to be a big deal to him, because he is a target, or he is a man that women who are hypergamous, they know who to choose, because he's not going to be as stressed as a man who is not a target when it comes to marrying up and dating, because it'll be stressful for him because he's not equipped for that, versus the man who is equipped to provide. So it is less stress because, okay, when you have money, then money is not everything. Then you get to focus on the love. Then you get to focus on the physical. Then you get to focus on the spirit. And then you get to focus on all these other amazing things. But when you don't have money, and when you are stressing about bills, then money is everything. You get my what do you call it? My GIF. I don't know how to say it. You get my shift, you get my GIF, you get my, I don't know. It's a saying. Moving forward, another reason why hypergamy is the way for every woman is that you get to stay home with your kids. First of all, kids, oh my God. First of all, kids are going to get neglected when you as a woman have that responsibility of having to figure out a way to get these bills paid. There's gonna be some form of neglect. And that's not up to bash single women who have been put in positions, where they have children and the fathers are not there and they're doing it all by themselves. That's not to make them feel bad or make them feel like they're bad mothers, but you have to realize that there is some form of one of those things are going to get neglected. When you fully focus on being a mom, you're not going to be paying attention on how this money is coming in. You're going to be focusing on your child and you're not going to be going as hard on the money. But when you're focusing so hard on, okay, how are these bills going to get paid? How are we going to get to the next level? How are we going to build wealth? Sometimes your kids may have to take a back burner. They may be given to other people to be watched so that because you have to get out here and hustle and grind. And it's like, but when you're hypergamous and you choose to have children, or even if you already have a kid, if you choose to raise children as a hypergamous woman who marries up and dates up, then you won't have that issue of your kids being neglected. You won't have the issue of feeling like, am I neglecting my kids? You won't have that issue of, okay, we're going to have to cut back because I'm going to have to stay home because, little Jeffrey is showing out in school because he needs more attention from his parent, you know what I'm saying? And so it just helps when the responsibility of providing financially is on, one person, because that's all they have to focus on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that the father shouldn't have any emotional development involvement with their kids, but it just makes it more balanced and you don't have that stress. That was a long point, but the next one is that shopping during the day. Oh my God. Now this is one of those, vain materialistic reasons why being a hypergamous woman is why every woman should just become this, because women love to shop. But you know what? When we're able to have that stress lifted off of us, and we are with a man who is able to provide a certain lifestyle that we are comfortable with, and we're able to go shopping during the day, we can get stuff to look nice for our man and for ourselves, okay? Therefore making him happy, okay? Because let's stop acting like men don't like when we get pretty for them, especially if they're, doing what they're supposed to do, Then you can go to the grocery store and buy the foods that need to be bought, the most healthy options, come home and cook it. But, you don't have to cook it if you don't want to, because last time I checked, I never seen a man not marrying the love of his life all because she couldn't cook. Just saying. But you get to shop during the day. You get to enjoy that luxury of doing you during the day. And you never know. You may come across something that inspires you to do something even greater. Okay. So the next point is medical expenses are covered. Okay. First of all, just to give birth alone can be from $10,000 to $30,000. Now, of course, with health insurance, that may be lower, but at the same time, you still have to think about that birth alone, okay? And then, you know how people get sick because they're stressed and they're working, and all these diseases and cancers and all that stuff that can come up because of stress. You're not going to really have to come across that as much as a hypergamous woman, because you can afford the health care. You can afford the healthy foods, the expensive foods that some people may not have access to. You can afford to really take care of yourself as a woman, physically, because you have time to exercise and focus on your health and stuff like that. And then in return, your man may be so focused on work that he may not be thinking about what he's eating. And then you could kind of help him out in that department. He doesn't have to be stressed about thinking, okay, what should I eat and what should I do? You can help him out with that. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that go a long way. And some people say, well, there are women who marry up and and they may get sick still. But you know what? Hey, at least they have a man that is able to take away that stress of taking care of the financial costs. At the end of the day, being able to having a certain financial comfort is able to take away the stresses of when life hits you sometimes, So another thing is you get to be and feel like a lady. You get to concentrate more on your feminine, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that you should do either way, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that some women are not all the way where they want to be yet. So that doesn't mean that you should neglect, your femininity and taking care of yourself just because you haven't met that man yet. But when you do meet that guy, you get to just really, and when you're with that man who is financially providing for everything, according to the lifestyle that you want for yourself, you're able to take care of yourself better. You're able to prep, because as a woman, like getting ready for a date, it takes a lot, especially when you want to look good. It takes sometimes it takes 5 hours. And I know some men, they may look at us and be like, that's ridiculous. But it really isn't. Like, it's a lot that goes into being a woman. It really is. It really is. And I won't get into that right now, but it's a lot. As far as looks alone, it's a lot. So you get to really be your best self, for yourself, not just for your man, but for yourself. And so therefore, in return, he's going to be happy with that. Okay. So another thing is that generational wealth. And basically, when you marry up, especially, as far as the income, the higher it gets, the better. Your kids are not going to have to worry. Their kids are not going to have to worry, especially when you're with the man who is prosperity minded, or even if he's just bringing in the income and he just makes a high income. It's a lot that the both of you could, do with that. It's a lot of ways that you could turn this into an even bigger income. It's just so many things, and just to be with someone who is doing it all on his own as a man who's providing and going against what everybody else is saying about the economy being bad, which I don't see that right now. Just being with the man who is that provider, it just creates such a wealth vibration, a prosperity vibration around the household. So therefore, it creates the habits and behaviors that creates wealth. So therefore, leads to generational wealth. And that's just the short way I'm going to put it. So another reason is it's a positive message for your kids and others watching. Okay, why it's good to date up and marry up, because one, especially with your children, it's teaching your children to, go after what you are worthy of, go after, something that is going to benefit your life, especially your partner and who you wind up marrying, because that's going to be one of the most important decisions that you make, is who you choose to marry, if that's what you want to do. And it also can benefit any other people around you. It may be family members who sometimes suffer from generational curses of dating down and marrying down, and they can look to you for inspiration. And be like, well, if she could do it, I could do it. Or I feel encouraged to do better with my life. Another one is it creates more wealth, like I said, and motivates the man to do even better than before. When a man runs towards responsibility by being the sole provider, it really puts him in this manly role. And I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't understand what it's like to be a man, but from what I have read, from what I have learned, and from what I have heard from my own dad, is that it really, providing for your family and having these people depend on you, it gives them this pump, this inspiration, this testosterone boost that just makes them want to do better, and the family benefits even more, and they even benefit more. And next thing you know, they're going higher and higher and higher, and they're able to live a very comfortable life with a happy wife, happy kids, and at the end of the day, they're able to create, all around healthy reality and happy reality for themselves as men. So it's just something about men providing for their families who want to do that just give them an extra boost, and therefore in return, it benefits the family even more. And so as a woman, it definitely benefits you, you know. And another one, the last but not least, is that things that could be a crisis, like job loss, you know, medical expenses, death, etc., you know, things that could be a crisis are just inconveniences when you marry up, date up, you know, because a lot of reasons why people get divorced is mostly over money and finances and not being able to take care of this. And, you know, family, you know, parents get sick and they're not able to take care of them and or, you know, a health crisis and all that good stuff. So it's just like, well, all that bad stuff, actually. And when you marry up and you date up, when you run into these issues, because sometimes things are going to happen, like even with the, you know, the rich people who run into these tax issues, even though that's like a really bad issue, you know, it's not necessarily a total crisis, you know, where they're considering, you know, doing things that are detrimental to themselves, if you know what I mean. But all they have to do is just cut back. It doesn't mean that bills don't get paid. It doesn't mean that the lights get cut off. It doesn't mean that they can't still function normally as a family. It just means that they may have to cut back a little bit or invest their money wisely or just save more or whatever. But versus a woman who is going 50-50, so therefore she's 50% financially responsible for things, so therefore she's going to have that stress on herself when certain things may happen, you know, or maybe even 100% of that stress on herself when certain things happen, you know. And some people say, oh, well, if you marry up to a guy and he's taking care of things and financially you're depending on him, you know, what if he loses his job? Well, like I said, when you really marry up and you're a hypergamous woman, a man losing a job shouldn't really be a crisis. It may be an inconvenience, but it's not going to be a crisis. You know, especially when he has a career, it's like, okay, pretty sure he has other things going on. Pretty sure he has money saved. Pretty sure he has things set up, or he has it to where he's already 2 steps or 10 steps ahead even, or other income sources. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, it depends on the characteristics of the man that you marry. You know, if you marry a man and he loses his job and he says, well, okay, I can't work now, so therefore the responsibility is on you. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do as the provider, now that, you know, the woman, then we're all going to just be butt out, you know. And it's just like, that's not a cool situation to be in. And also, that's not a cool situation to be in at all. So therefore, you should just be very, how should I say this? You should have discernment when it comes to who you choose as your partner to marry. And if you really are like hypergamous, you're going to run into a man who, one, you're not going to really have that issue because he is the type of person, he has the characteristics to where that's not going to affect the family and the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Versus a man who is not prepared for that. Therefore, you know, you shouldn't have married him because he's not prepared to have a family, because I know that things happen. And I just really get annoyed when people say, well, what if he loses his job? Do you know how many single women who have quit their jobs and found a job the next day, or they have a career and, you know, they're able to, that's not a big deal to their family. So it's just like, okay, like, you know, hypergamous women are, for one, they're not going to marry soft men who don't know how to keep the money coming in. I'm just saying. But that's all my reasons. And let me know what you think. And I'll be back with the next video. Hey, before you leave, make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. Or depending on where you're listening to this, make sure you follow this channel. And also, don't forget to share this with your peoples. Be sure you click on that notification bell so you can get an update on the next video, because it's going to be